Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be having a look at how to set up Windows Hello on a business or educational account without it being actually enabled. So to start off, what we first need is having admin permissions on the computer. If you do not have admin permissions on the computer, this will not be possible. If you're using a Windows Pro Edition, then it will be a bit easier because we need to have access to the group registry editor. If you do not have the editor, I'll have a link or I'll have a bit of code you can type in to command. Let me just open it. So if you just go to CMD and command prompt, and you type in right here this line of code that I'm just gonna copy over. 1 second, and I right click, there we go, and then I want to paste that in. And look, this is why I said you have to add admin permissions. It says elevated permissions are required to run DISM. So you want to back out of this, and when you're running CMD, make sure you right click, run as administrator, or click run as administrator over here. Now when you do this, it doesn't say your username no longer, and it just says System32. Then once you paste your code, it will start adding the group policy tools. Just give it a second. As you can see here, for a bit it's been installing the versions. Now it's installing a Chinese version as well, because I have Chinese set on my operating system. So depending on how many languages you have set inside of your operating system, this will take a different amount of time. Once this has finished running, you can then once all of these have finished loading and everything, then you can restart your computer and then it will install. But since I've already have it installed, I'm just going to stop the program right now to save some time. Okay. Now once we've got that installed, we can then start doing some configurations on our computer. Now, I have provided a link in the description. I will show that right now. If you go on to my website link, which is pasteboard.co/VSKOWN4WB4EX.png. This will also be in the description below. If you go into this website over here, if I type it correctly, and then it will show you the configurations you need to set up here, which is these. You only need to set up this one, which is turn on advertised ID and turn off customer experiences and do not show Windows tips. These you don't have to touch, but the rest of them, this configure anti-spoofing, allow domain, and things, we need it now. Okay, so I'm just gonna place this over here and we can go into it. Okay. Now, you can watch the video to show how to do it, or you can skip and just let me just show you how to do it. Group. So you go to Group Policy Management. Sorry, Edit Group Policy. Brings you up with this. Make sure you're selected on the computer configuration, not the user configuration. You make sure you're set on the computer configuration menu. 1 second. It's a bit small, isn't it? I can't really see that. So 1 second here. Okay. Now once we're in this menu, we can start changing some of the things. So first we want to go into the computer configurations, which is under local computer. Then we need to go to Windows Components, or Windows. We go first to Windows Components, which is under Administrative Templates and Windows Components. And first we want to go to Biometrics. Click on Facial Features. First enable this, enable the use of biometrics by clicking Edit this policy setting, click on this, and then click Enable. And just click Apply and then OK. You want to enable all these three, and under Facial and Face configuration, make sure you disable anti-spoofing. Okay. Next one we need to go to do is we have to exit, not exit, but we have to exit this facial features, and we have to scroll down until you see this Windows Hello for Business. Click on Windows Hello for Business. Make sure Use Biometrics is enabled and Windows Hello for Business is also enabled. If you want to, you can also change these other ones, such as pin recovery and such. The other ones you need to go. There's also one more thing we need to change. Exit from Windows Components and click on System. Once you get into System, you have to go click on this one called Log On. After this, make sure Convenience Pin Sign-In is on and Security Key Sign-In is on. If Picture Sign-In you want is also on, then you can enable those as well. But for this tutorial, we'll only be enabling these two. Once that is done, we have finished setting up our computer for the settings. So, yeah, check it yourself. There's the pasteboard link that I've provided in the description, which you can also use, which will give you a better idea if you do not want to do it the manual way. Okay. But if you see, for some people, if you just do this and it just immediately works, it's like, oh, I immediately work. But as you see here, if I go into Settings and you go into the Settings and you go into, what is it? Privacy. Sorry, not privacy. You want to go into User, and you want to go into Accounts, Sign In Options, and it might still say, as it says over here, some of these settings are hidden or managed by your organization, and they still say they're unenabled. But there is a way to fix this. This is might be a bit of a workaround, but to do this workaround, if this doesn't work, you either have to have a camera that is capable of doing face scanning or Windows Hello Face, or a Windows Hello Fingerprint. If you want to only set up a PIN, these two are still required for this process. I'll provide the link for this code in the description below, but what we need to do is we need to right click on the Windows, or you can type in here Windows PowerShell admin, PowerShell, and run as administrator, or you can right click here and Windows PowerShell admin. Once it's in here, make sure it says System32, because make sure it says System32, and then you're ready to go. Then you want to paste in the code or paste in the text. Let me just open it up here. Which for me, I'm doing face enrollment, but there's also one for fingerprint enrollment. I'll be pasting those both in the description. For the processes of this tutorial, I'll be using the face enrollment one. To explain how this works, this basically bypasses the need for having. Basically, it says, oh, if I set up my face, I need to have a PIN for it, so that's how you set up your PIN. Because there's no for sign-in option for PIN enrollment, but there's only for a face enrollment. So I wanted to paste this in. So let me just right-click, copy, and you go into here and Control V. Make sure there's no space at the start. I'll have to delete this again. And Control V, and then Enter. It will bring up this, and it'll bring up Windows Hello. Then you say Get Started, and then because I already have a PIN in, I'll have to do this, but it will just let you continue. Then it will ask you to center your face on the camera, and then once it's centered your face and it has scanned your face, then it'll ask you for your PIN, and then that's how you set up your PIN. Just to note, after you set up this PIN, I currently do not know any way to change the PIN. There might be a way to do that, but just in case, make sure you set the PIN to a number that you might want to use for the rest of the time you're using Windows. If this doesn't work for some reason, which is very extremely unlikely, there's also another way, another bit of code which is usually already pre-enabled on all systems, but it might not be enabled on yours, which is inside of Registry Editor. So if you go into Registry Editor, this is not usually allowed, not usually yet, but if I'll just copy this and put in the description, you can copy paste it in. It's HKE machine policies Microsoft Windows system, and for me, this wasn't for me, but I didn't have this allow domain pin login. If you have it already, just make sure to modify and set that to 1, which is true, and make sure to user policy mode. If you don't have this user policy mode, it's fine. Some people have it, some people don't, but make sure you have this allow domain pin login. And to add this, you want to right click new. Make sure you want to click dward 32-bit, click on it, and then name it allow domain pin log on. It says it's already there because I've already put it, but once it says that, then you can edit it and modify it to make sure it's 1. Make sure it's selected in hexadecimal and click OK. I'm just going to delete it. Yep. Before you do this, it could be advisory to save and export a copy of your registry in case you delete any important system files, but if you follow this tutorial and you're only touching stuff in this Microsoft system area and this exact directory, it should be no problem. And then after you do this, you can try and go back and see if it works. If it works, then good. If it doesn't work, then I really have no idea what is wrong with your system. But that is basically the video, guys. This is how to set up Windows Hello for educational or business workspaces without being technically admitted to use it on the workspace. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye. See you.